Hi friends, this is Susie, your gaming guru, here to help you solve the puzzle of level 3086 in Candy Crush Saga as a special dedication to Michelle, who has let me know this level has gone through some significant changes. The easiest one to spot is we used to have 35 moves, we now have 16. We used to have 41 jelly, we now have 82. But also, this used to be listed as a super hard level, and it's now listed as a hard level. Now, even though I don't put a lot of store in how King ranks things, there has to be some reason that they downgraded this. And I have found that the beneficial change this board has undergone is that we used to have 5 colors of candy, and we now only have 4. There used to be red in here, and when there's a greater number in the mix of candies, it's harder to make matches and specials. I'm not saying that the reduction of colors will nicely offset the reduction of moves, but I am saying that is a benefit that we need to explore. Now, regarding the jelly, that's a complete wash because it's actually the same amount. It's just that King is counting it differently. So the largest grid you can have is a 9x9 grid. This doesn't quite match that because there are cutouts here. But in a regular grid, it's a 9x9 grid for a total of 81 possible squares. So previously, if we had a full grid of 81 and there was a single layer of jelly on each square, then it would be counted as 81 jelly. And if we had a 9x9 grid, so a total of 81 squares, and it was double thick jelly like we see here on the board, it would still only be counted as 81. Whether it was single thick or double thick, they counted the squares and not the layers of jelly. Now they've changed. So now if it's double thick on a 9x9 grid, it would be called 162 jelly, even if the amount hadn't changed. And here we used to have 41 jelly, but it was actually double thick jelly, so it's the same as these 82. Sorry for that long explanation, but I know it is fairly tricky. So what we have to do is to try to get to all these nooks and crannies, and we've got some bad things down here. These licorice locked licorice swirls, licorice locked candy, more licorice swirls set to come down, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing we need to fight against is the licorice. How do we control that licorice? If I take out licorice on a turn, no new licorice should be coming in. Now some can still come on the conveyor belt as it runs around through. If there's a licorice here, it's going to come through here. But if I take out a licorice, no new licorice is being formed. So I want to try to take out a licorice each turn if I can. But I have to remember that my main goal is clearing things out. Yes, taking out the licorice can help with that, but it's not the only thing that needs to be done. Now I have a quandary. What am I going to do here? If I make a stripe, I might be able to do the striped wrapped combo together. If I make a wrapped, it's not going to be a wrapped combo because the green is going to set this off. But I still think wrapped around here is a good way to go. Unfortunately, it's not taking out any of the licorice right away. If I did this move, I would be taking out licorice. But sometimes we have to forego those opportunities. And sometimes there's a 1 or a 2 turn delay that can help us out. So now we've got ticking time bombs on the board. They're set at 8. We have 10 moves left. Little bit tricky, but not awful. I could go ahead and set this to work right away. Sometimes I like to leave it until it knows exactly where I want it to go because I want it to reach down here. But I think with the reduction of moves, we do want to kind of throw this as quickly as possible into the mix. I'm going to do this so I get this stripe going here, and let's see where these guys land. Mostly where I want them to. I would have preferred a little bit further down. There we go. So we're getting this cleared out. Now I still do have a licorice I can remove, or I could make a stripe here. I have to decide what's best. With only 4 colors on the board, if I just make a move down here, it's quite possible that as things cascade down, they'll create their own specials. So in this case, because I can remove this, and this is the last one I can remove on this board for now, I'm going to do this, and I took the one that gave me a benefit of taking out a jelly. I can't get through to these guys, and now I do have to kind of invite some of that licorice to show up. But if I do that, then I can try to stem the tide by taking out licorice on some turns now. Maybe. So let's make this stripe here. We've got a lot of purple over here. I like the wrapped candy. I'm going to do this, explode this area. And thankfully I got to the most difficult area. I was able to clear that out. I still have nooks and crannies all around the board I have to get to. And it's not going to be easy, and I don't even know if it's going to be possible at this point in time. But I am still glad that I focused on this, because this is the more difficult area. 3 moves, 5 jelly. Some of it's double thick off in this corner here. I could make a stripe, but I think I'm going to take out the jelly. How to take out the jelly. I don't see how to do that, and I'm just inviting more of this down, aren't I? Well, let's take out licorice and see what can happen. Yeah, not there, but not awful for my first run through. 4 jelly left. Yes, it's in the little bits and corners. But I think the strategy is valid, and I just have to slow down and examine each and every opportunity. And if I can get something like a color bomb wrapped out of this, then I might have a much better outcome. The key, in my opinion, is keeping track of those licorice and trying to not let them invade so much so that you can't get to the jelly underneath. I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to come back with a new board with this same strategy, since it seemed to work fairly well, but just slow everything down and really contemplate my moves. I'm not going to have the microphone on right away, but I will come back on when I have something important to say. And that's how we get that one done. A little bit of luck at the end, but remember, you can try to set up the luck by making some good moves in the beginning. All told, that took me 11 tries. If this was helpful, I would ask that you consider liking and subscribing. If you have any questions or comments, please put those below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.